We've got a massive week 4 on deck. Don't let anyone tell you that this is a sleepy schedule this Saturday, because it is anything but that. We got 3 ranked versus ranked matchups. Bryce Underwood going on the road once again, this time without his coach and in front of 85,000 plus. We also have some sneaky under the radar games to talk about, such as Tulane traveling to Oxford and a pretty big Big 12 showdown in Waco. And as always, we'll round out the episode with our best bets, and we'll try to make you guys some more money. We'll try to hit 4 in a row on our upset alert picks, right? This is Always Talking Ball. Tyler Noe, Lance Barton. Real quick before we get started, huge thank you to everyone out there who has subscribed to the channel on YouTube. We just passed over 2,000 subs, so that's a big moment for us to celebrate. We couldn't have done it without you guys, honestly. We're also growing our numbers on Spotify and Apple as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now and aren't subscribed, click on that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, click on that follow button for us. And then click the share button and send it to a bunch of your family and friends who love college football. It's totally free to you, and it really helps us out a ton. Lance, let's get to our big game breakdowns, sponsored by Branded Bills. Click on the link in the episode description or the QR code that is in the top right of this screen on YouTube. Type in Branded 15 for 15% off of your first order. Let's head to Bloomington. 7:30 p.m. on NBC. We got number 10 Illinois at number 24 Indiana. The reason I say number 10, number 24, we're part of the All Podcasters poll now, man. So forget the AP poll. We're using the rankings for the All Podcasters poll, man. So go check that out on Twitter. We're part of Walk On, 3 Tech, Gridiron. You know, so a lot of those guys. We're really, happy to be part of that. Happy to kind of put our minds together and come out with a ranking every week that kind of makes a little bit more sense than the AP poll.
It's on our Instagram too now.
Yep, on our Instagram. So number 10 versus number 24, Indiana, all the way up to I think maybe 5.5, 6 right now on the line. I'm armed with nuggets tonight, man. I am armed with some nuggets.
Back. Let's go. I'm fired up for the Nuggets, man. I've been missing my Nuggets the last couple of weeks, dude.
I know, man.
Let it rip. Let it rip. What do you got? What do you got for the
people? We got right now, let me pull up my nuggets here, but Illinois has produced profit galore for its backers as a road underdog during Brett Bielema's tenure. They are 12-4 against the spread as a road underdog. And to make matters better, I think they're like 16-4 since 2018 or something like that, or since 2021 as in road games against the spread. IU, though, they've also been a moneymaker as a home favorite since Curt Cignetti took the job. 9-2 against the spread as a home favorite in 11 games. Hoosiers are 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 games of this rivalry. A couple of injuries to take note. Lee Beebe, the running back for IU, is out for the season. He was averaging 7.7 yards per carry.
Yep.
So that's going to be a hit to their backfield. Give me your first impression, first thoughts on Illinois versus Indiana.
Love the quarterback matchup, man, with Fernando Mendoza and Luke Altmaier. I mean, our preseason deal, we have both these quarterbacks in our top, 8 QBs in the Big Ten going into the season. I mean, Mendoza so far this year is, I know Indiana hasn't played anybody yet, but still, man, he's at 72% completion percentage, 9 touchdown passes, 2 rushing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The dude's only been sacked 1 time. I know they haven't played anybody, but they're doing what you're supposed to do against teams that you should beat like that. They did the same thing last year, but we talked about going into the year, man. I'm going to start with the Indiana offense here. We talked about how going into the season that what they added in the transfer portal along the offensive line, how big of adding like a Pat Coogan from Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. And Zamir Chalsky, is that how you say his name? The transfer from
Zim Michalski.
Yeah, Zim Michalski, the transfer from Ohio State. So they got better along the offensive line because in the bigger games last year and matchups like the one we're talking about now, Indiana's offensive line did not hold up anywhere near as well as they did in other games. So I am very interested to see how this Indiana offensive line now that they're playing a really good team like Illinois, who has a solid defensive front, how they hold up against the Illinois defensive line. That's a matchup that I'm looking forward to watching. And I mean, dude, Omar Cooper Jr. has just been lights out so far at wide receiver for them. Him and Elijah Surratt, obviously, that was their two best receivers going into the season. The dudes have 7 touchdowns combined and 464 yards through their 3 games. I mean, EJ Williams Jr. and Jonathan Brady and Holden Stays, they've also been, pretty solid for Indiana so far. So, I mean, in this matchup, like Siggs and Mike Shanahan Jr., last year against like your Washingtons, your Nebraskas, I mean, even Michigan. I know they didn't blow out Michigan, but still, those matchups, they handled those teams, man, and they really handled the teams like Nebraska and Washington. I think Illinois is probably a little better than what those teams were last year at that time, no
Mhm.
doubt. Illinois is a very solid. They're just solid. Like, they're not gonna beat themselves. They're not gonna have a bunch of turnovers. We saw, like, against Duke, they didn't turn the football over. Duke did turn the football over, and Illinois did what good teams do. They, like, capitalized and scored and made it hurt on those turnovers. But, man, I'm just really interested to see, like, what Indiana's offensive line, who wins that matchup between that defensive front from Illinois and the Indiana offensive line. Also, going into the year, Illinois has a ton of returning production back. Their corners and their pass defense was supposed to be a strength of theirs coming into the season. How do they hold up? Because, like, I mean, man, you saw the same game I did against Duke. I mean, Men's and some of those receivers, like there were some yards to be had there in the passing game. This Indiana passing game is better than that Duke passing game. So, can Illinois hold up against these wide receivers for Indiana in this passing game with Fernando Mendoza? I can't wait to watch. Is there something you're looking forward to specifically on the Indiana offense versus Illinois defense that I didn't
Yeah,
mention
I
yet?
mean, I still have my concerns about the Illini offensive line. They're giving up sacks 9.5% of the time on
Yep.
dropbacks.
Yep.
Luke Altmaier is such a seasoned quarterback, though, that I mean, he's got 8 touchdowns, he's got 0 picks, he's completing 72% of his passes. So when he gets time to throw, he's hitting guys in the open.
I want to make a point. He's been sacked 9 times so far this year.
Yeah.
9 through 3 games. That's a good point that you made there. And they've given up quite a bit of tackles for a loss as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Caden Fagan, the running back, he's only averaging 4.4 yards per carry, which like it seems like a good number, but like we're talking like high end college teams, like top 20 college teams. Like you look at Kalen Black for IU, he's at 6.4. Roman Hemby's at 5.6.
Yep.
Like college, the way the offense is designed, you can get a little more yards per carry. You're talking NFL 4.4 yards per carry. That's great. I mean, you're a Pro Bowler right there. But 4.4 in college just kind of it gives me a little pause on that offensive line. So I'm anxious to see how they come out, how they try to determine the flow of the game. Because Bielema is going to want to run the ball, especially on the road. I think that's his recipe: run the ball on the road and try to chew the clock, try to keep the ball out of that Indiana offense's hands, keep the ball in his season quarterback's hands, and see if they can make do some damage against that D line from Indiana. You got the linebackers, you got DBs. I mean, you're going to want to throw away from D'Angelo Pons all night,
Yep.
who's probably going to be covering Beatty, right, for Illinois. So,
Yep.
it's all a matter to me, can Illinois protect Altmaier enough?
Yeah, I'll that is where this game starts and ends for me. I was, saving that for the Indiana defense versus Illinois offense. For Illinois to win this game on the road, the offensive line has to be better than what they've been so far this year. I mean, it is alarming that they've given up 21 tackles for a loss and 9 sacks. So, I mean, they've got to be able to protect because you mentioned a guy a minute ago, Hank Beatty, he's Altmaier's favorite target. He's had 19 catches for 289 yards on the year. Been very, very solid. Justin Belwick for transfer from Ball State, 8 catches. 3 of those were for touchdowns. You're talking about Caden Fagan a minute ago. Dude, did you know he's 6'3", 250 pounds?
That's a tall running back.
That's a big boy, man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he's taken kind of the role of Josh McCray, who we saw him in short
Yeah.
yardage situations for Georgia this past weekend. How good he can be in the short yardage situations. So Illinois has got to be able to protect Altmaier. Altmaier, again, both these quarterbacks, man, are very solid. But for Indiana, defensively, games like this is where their preseason all Big Ten selection players like D'Angelo Pons at corner, Aiden Fisher at linebacker, Mikael Kamara on that defensive line. They've got a DB named Lewis Moore who has balled out so far this year, who leads the team in tackles and in interceptions. So those guys have to be big in a game like this. No question about it.
Yeah, if you
Uh,
can have another guy opposite D'Angelo Pons, obviously, that kind of tells you right there their teams are straying away from him.
Yep.
Now, again, like you said, we haven't seen Indiana play anybody. We've
Yep.
seen them play Kennesaw State, Indiana State. Their Old Dominion win looks a little more solid. I mean, that's a more solid of a win than like beating Stanford or UCLA or anything like that.
I agree.
But
People, by
yeah,
the way, timeout. People will laugh at what you just said. That is, they just haven't watched. They haven't watched these teams play.
yeah,
Old Dominion, UCLA on a neutral field right now. I promise you, I'd take Old Dominion.
yeah.
And that is a solid Group of 5 football team. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, they took Indiana. I mean, it was 27-14. That's a solid victory or solid game played by the Monarchs there.
Yeah.
And people that was the first game. People man, Indiana slow out of the gate. Like they also gave up a 78-yard touchdown and a 75-yard touchdown in that game. That was 2 big plays. That was it.
Yep.
So defense has played well, obviously against Kennesaw and Indiana State. But yeah, it's going to be a different test. It's just going to be this. I mean, crazy to say, not crazy to say. This is the most important Illinois versus Indiana matchup ever.
Oh, without
Like,
question, bro.
what does it do for the winner of the game, and what does it do for the loser of the game? Like, what? How do you go forward after that?
Because this game is at home for Indiana, like if they want a chance to compete for a college football playoff with the rest of the schedule that they also have, I believe they play at Oregon and they play at Penn State
Yep.
this year.
Yeah.
So again, we know the magic number until proven otherwise, until the committee shows. Like Indiana is not going to be one of those teams that's 9-3 and has a chance to get in.
No.
Their schedule's not going to allow that. Their non-conference schedule is not going to allow that.
No.
They've got to be at 10-2 to even be considered into the conversation.
And as much as people want to talk about Illinois shouldn't be ranked as high as they are, like Indiana wins this game, that'll be a top 10 victory that carries out through the rest of the year for them. So this is, I mean, they didn't get anything like that last year. They didn't play anybody until they beat, Nebraska, Washington. They were unranked. Play Ohio State, Notre Dame. You lose both of those. So this would be Curt Cignetti's biggest win by far.
I agree. And this is like the first ranked versus ranked matchup in Bloomington. And like, I can't remember. It's like, I saw the stat the other day. I wish I could remember the years, but it's a long time since they've had a ranked versus ranked matchup in Bloomington. By the way, travesty that College Game Day is not in Bloomington this weekend. Said that on the last episode. I'll say it again. They should be in Bloomington for this matchup.
I mean, would you rather go to Bloomington or would you rather just go down to Miami if you're those guys, maybe stop in Orlando, say hi to Corso real quick?
I get it, man. I get it. But that, for the football part of it, they should be at this matchup or at Texas Tech, Utah this weekend. But the last thing I want to mention here, Indiana last year was the best team in the country against the rush. And this year, I know that's last year, but do they continue that this year? Bryant Haynes, the DC for Indiana, dating back to his days at JMU, they've always been stout against the run. If they shut down the Illinois run game, can the offensive line, when it's obvious passing situations, protect Luke Altmaier? That is the key for Illinois. Obviously, if Indiana turns the ball over 5 times like Duke did against Illinois, where they fumbled 4 times and threw a pick, Illinois is going to win the football game. But we can't sit here and handicap that as we're sitting here predicting this game.
Okay.
So I'm going to give a game pick here, and I've got a best bet in this game.
Okay.
I went back and forth on this. My best bet in this game is I'm taking Indiana minus 5.5. There's 5.5s popping up right now. I'm going to take it at minus 5.5. I think Sigs and the Hoosiers at home. I believe in Fernando Mendoza and Omar Cooper Jr., Elijah Surratt in that passing game. Offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan Jr. I think Roman Hemi and Kalen Black will be able to do enough in the running game against the Illinois defense. And I do think that Illinois got problems along their offensive line right now that Indiana is going to be able to take advantage of and be able to slow down that Illinois running game. And they'll be able to do enough to slow down that Luke Altmaier Illinois passing game. I think Indiana wins this game and covers the 5.5 and has a big win in Bloomington on Saturday night in prime time.
Okay, I got a best bet as well. Preseason pick, going through the schedule, picked Indiana to win this game. I think Indiana is going to win this game. I just think ESPN bet popped up this morning, Wednesday morning, with a 6.5 at minus 115. I think 6.5 is too much. Could be a 30-24 type game.
And we both win.
We both win. Now, again, Illinois money comes in late on Saturday morning, and that line gets back down to 4.5, 3.5, something like that, where it opened up at. I may look at, just calling it and just saying, I'll take Indiana 4.5. Maybe I get lucky with a 5 or 6 point win. I think Indiana wins, but I think Illinois covers. I mean, Bielema 12-4 against the spread as a
Yeah.
road dog, and
Yep.
Illinois, 16-4 against the spread in road games, period. Since 2021, they haven't always been a top 10 Illinois team either. Like, they've been pretty bad a couple years ago, 4-8, 5-7, and they're still 16-4 against the spread in those road games. So I got to take Illinois plus 6.5 as my best bet this game.
My only question to that would be is how many points were they? Like, I bet they were getting a lot more points than they're getting in this game as an underdog because they
Sure.
are a lot better. But yeah, that trend does scare me a little bit. But I know that Siggs in Indiana have in the 1 year he's been there have been clapping them cheeks for folks there in Bloomington in their home game. So
Yep.
I'm looking for them to do the same in this one.
Okay, ATB going head to head once again. I'm 1-0 in those, so we'll see what happens this week.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens the rest of the episode. Who knows what lies ahead? So 3:30 ABC, number 23 Auburn at number 7 Oklahoma in the All Podcasters Bowl. Oklahoma currently minus 6.5 on the line. I think it opened at 4.5, now up to minus 6.5. Sooners are 12-6 against the spread in 18 games as home favorites during Brent Venables' 4-year tenure. Meanwhile, Auburn 3-4 against the spread in 7 games as a road underdog under Hugh Freeze. Now, with that said, Auburn's already gone on the road this year, like we talked about. Picked up a big win, 38-24 over Baylor in week 1. They were a road favorite in that scenario. But here's a stat for you I'm going to repeat this again later on in the episode. But in games featuring 2 AP ranked teams, when the home team is ranked higher and is a single digit favorite or underdog, the home team has gone 59-21 straight up and 52-25-3 against the spread since 2017.
Wow.
Almost 68% against the spread. So there'll be a play on Oklahoma here. So we'll see at the end of this preview what we got going on. Couple injury concerns. Malcolm Simmons, Eric Singleton Jr. both questionable. I think they're both expected to play.
Yep.
Same on Oklahoma side. Giovanni Gibson, Jaden Gibson, they're both questionable. Probably going to still expect to see them out there on Saturday afternoon in Norman. We know the deal with John Mateer and Oklahoma's offense. He's a gunslinger. We saw it in the Michigan game. Everybody saw it in the Michigan game. You held your breath countless times, whether you were a Michigan fan or an Oklahoma fan. He's already thrown 3 picks this year, but he loves to spread the ball around too, man. Oklahoma already has 4 wide receivers with at least 13 receptions through 3 games. Big letdown spot last week for Oklahoma after that Michigan game, going on the road to Temple. They were completely dialed in, completely focused. I know it's Temple, but they were 23-point favorites, and they won by 39, covering easily. So no letdown there from Venables. To me, I just think we watched Bryce Underwood play against Oklahoma. We watched what Venables kind of did to him and did to that offense with that defense. There's nobody on either sideline who knows Jackson Arnold as well as Brent Venables does. And that, if I'm an Auburn fan right there, scares the heck out of me.
Yeah, I think it would scare me mostly with Brent Venables just because, like, if you're more of a right now, Auburn has been mostly a one-dimensional team up to this point. They've been a running football team, and they've ran it really well. They've ran the ball 65% of the time this year. They're 16th in the country in rushing so far through their first 3 games. Jeremiah Cobb is their leading back, 46 carries, 314 yards, 4 tutties. Next closest running back is Damari Alston with 16 carries, and that dude hasn't played since Baylor, since their first game of the year. Their second leading rusher is Jackson Arnold. He's got like 35 carries on the year. And while, again, it's really good that you can run the football, I'm not taking that away. My point is, in a game like this, against a defense that's as good as Oklahoma's and a defensive coordinator, the head coach, Brent Venables, against a elite defensive play caller like this that has the personnel that he has, if you're going to be one-dimensional, you're done. Like, you cannot do that. You cannot line up against Oklahoma. Maybe I'll eat these words and everybody can comment and say, this didn't age well. They should make this equipment a lot more expensive. Everyone can have a podcast. Sure, go ahead, blast me. I just don't think Auburn's going to be able to line up and just ram the football down Oklahoma's throat. They're going to have to be more balanced in this game. They're going to have to make throws down the field and be more explosive in the passing game with a top 5 wide receiver unit in college football. Now, we haven't gotten to see that top 5 wide receiver unit really go to work yet in Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton Jr. and Malcolm Simmons and Horatio Fields. We haven't gotten to see them like really blossom yet because they haven't really thrown the football a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, and we're all wondering this, and I've got a lot of folks down in the great state of Alabama that are diehard Auburn fans that are also wondering the same exact question. Can Jackson Arnold consistently make throws? That is the question. And I don't mean to make it break down into one single thing for this game, but that really is what it comes down to. Is can Jackson Arnold make throws? If he can, I think Auburn is going to be able to stay in this football game, and not only stay in it, they'll have a chance to win the game straight up. Because
let me ask you another question. What have you seen anything from Jackson Arnold's mental makeup in his career that will lead you to believe like he can go on the road in an environment that's going to be as raucous as this? And it's like it's not the biggest crowd he's ever played in, but they're going to be wild because it's their quarterback coming back with another SEC team playing against them. You know, they're going to be fired up for that. You see anything in his mental makeup that leads you to believe, like, yeah, I think he's going to be unflappable in this situation.
I don't know about that, but like I was impressed how he was at Baylor. I was impressed how he played at Baylor. But again, like I'm just being honest, like this isn't Baylor. This defense ain't Baylor. And like I think he was more comfortable in that game because he was playing like more like backyard football. Like dropping back, first reads, not there, I'm taking off running. I'm going to go run and scamper around. And obviously that defense for Baylor is booty compared to Oklahoma's. To your point, I was actually going to bring that up. The mental makeup like of Jackson Arnold in this spot. And it's not just him. Like I'm going to get to that in other quarterbacks as well that we're going to talk about later on today and even next week when it comes to Ty Simpson going on the road against Georgia. Like I need to see what Jackson Arnold does when the other team takes away what you do best, which I believe that Brent Venables in Oklahoma will be able to do that. They're going to take away what Auburn does best, which is running the football. I mean, I'm not saying Auburn can't run at all. Like they may have a little bit of success in the run game, but again, it's not going to be enough to where they can just run the ball every single play, basically like they did against Baylor. They're going to have to throw the ball. So when they take away that running game, can Jackson Arnold, when things aren't going well, you can't hear yourself think. The pressure is on you. It's on you now to make throws to receivers down the field and be able to make big time throws. Can you do that? We have yet to see him do it. So until we see him do it, I got to see it to believe it. And as far as the rosters are concerned, this is why this game's so intriguing to me. If you just take Auburn's roster and Oklahoma's roster, like I know the difference in the rankings, but talent for talent, Auburn's just as talented, if not more, than Oklahoma, honestly. Like if you look at the back-to-back stacked top 8 ranked recruiting classes for Hugh Freeze and Auburn, the guys they brought in the transfer portal and Eric Singleton Jr. and the offensive lineman that they brought in, and Kieron Crawford, defensive end they brought in 2 years ago from Arkansas State, has been a dog for them off the edge as an edge rusher. I mean, that is how Auburn can really stay in this game is Keldrick Faulk on one edge and Kieron Crawford on the other edge. Can those defensive linemen get pressure and force Mateer? We saw against Michigan. Like you said, Mateer's already thrown 3 picks this year. He's been really good this year. He has. But he has thrown 3 picks. And if DBs could catch the football, he'd have about 6 picks right now. So that is where I think Auburn can stay in this game is that defensive line and Auburn's defensive front and the DB. They've got really good DBs. They could possibly keep them in it. But, man,
Who's got the coaching edge?
Ooh. Man, I'd say right now, I'd say it's more Oklahoma, and I'm not just going to say just Venables. Yeah. The reason why I say that is because obviously, old dude that brought in from Washington State, I'm going blank.
Ben Arbuckle.
Ben Arbuckle with Brent Venables. Like Brent Venables is the head coach, but he's calling the defense, which is what he does best. And Ben Arbuckle is a really good OC. A stat that I want to give out when I was really prepping for this game, a stat I want to give out, the nugget that I found that I thought was interesting that would worry me if you're an Auburn fan in regards to running the football in this game. Michigan had 32 carries for 146 yards against Oklahoma in that game. 75 of that 146 came on one run on the first play of the second half on Justice Haynes' 75-yard touchdown run. That means on the 31 other carries for Michigan in that game, they only had 71 yards rushing. 31 carries for 71 yards the rest of the game. That's not good. And we all think, everybody in the world thinks Michigan's some really good running team. So, again, Jackson Arnold's going to have to make throws.
Yeah.
And I've got a best bet in this game as well. At this point, until I see it, I don't think Jackson Arnold is good enough to go on the road against a Brent Venables defense against Oklahoma, and he's good enough to make enough throws to beat Oklahoma. And again, Oklahoma doesn't have to blow them out to cover. They could win this game 31-24, and that's a cover. So right now the line is at 6.5. I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 6.5 as a best bet. I think John Mateer and that offense will make enough plays, but I just think the Oklahoma defense is going to be too much for Auburn in this game, and Jackson Arnold will not be able to make enough throws in the passing game to be able to cover the spread. And I think that stat that you gave out, how Oklahoma under Brent Venables has been really good against the spread at home as a favorite, I think they're going to take care of business in this game and win this game and cover the spread against Auburn.
I'm with you, man. I got Oklahoma minus 6.5 today as well. The total's 47.5. I would lean under.
Same.
I mean, it's similar to that. I mean, I don't know if it's ugly as that Oklahoma Michigan game, but a little similar. I think Jackson Arnold's going to be hyped to come back to Norman to play, but I think he just might be a little too hyped. Might start off a little too hyped. Might be overthrowing some guys, but I do think they're going to take some shots downfield. If they hit a lot of those shots, like Tennessee and the Vols did last week with Brazel, like it could be a totally different game. But from what we've seen from Oklahoma's secondary this year, and their defense as a whole, ranking top 5, top 10 in scoring defense so far, I got to take the Sooners at home in Norman minus 6.5.
Bro, I've got that literally in my notes. I just got carried away there, and then did not say it. Shot literally have in all caps shot plays in my notes. Auburn needs to do exactly what you just said. They need to literally drop back and just throw alley-oops down the field. A basketball reference. Just throw it up to Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons and Horatio Fields and Eric Singleton Jr. and let those guys be athletes and go get it.
Yeah. Big noon kickoff. Number 19, Texas Tech at number 11, Utah. We got a 10 a.m. local kick out in Salt Lake City. I think that actually probably benefits the Red Raiders. I mean, it's 11 a.m. for them, so body clocks are a little better for them. Kyle Whittingham, his program.
They definitely don't. The Texas Tech definitely didn't want that game in Rice Eccles to be at night.
No, they got lucky there. They did get lucky there. Kyle Whittingham's program has produced a 35-7 straight up record and 26-16 against the spread in 42 home games since 2018. So that just shows you how difficult they are to be beaten at Rice Eccles. 27-14 in 41 games as a home favorite since 2017. So 27-14 against the spread. Red Raiders last 11 games as road underdogs on Joey McGuire's watch. 5-6 against the spread. That's kind of been their bugaboo, right? It's kind of been, he can't go on the road and win. I mean, I just remember 2023 Texas Tech. We were all hyping them up. The road games really bit them that year. Again, that same stat that I read in the Oklahoma Auburn game, in games featuring 2 AP ranked teams, when the home team is ranked higher and is a single digit favorite underdog, 59-21 straight up, 52-25-3 against the spread. So chances are one of these two, if not both, Oklahoma and Utah, are going to cover. And we might come back Monday and you guys can comment. You guys can do all this stuff on YouTube If they lose, you can say, "Yeah, great call. This aged like milk." It's great call. As we've been getting a lot these days. Sure, we're the only ones giving our takes out there. Sure. Um, I'm excited to watch Devin Dampier, man, against this pass rush that Texas Tech has now with David Bailey on the outside. I mean, they spent a ton of money, obviously, very well reported in the offseason, a ton of money. Cody Campbell has got his pockets deep out there in Lubbock. It's all that oil money. Uh, can they stop Devin Dampier, who has done a really good job of taking care of the ball? That was kind of his thing last year. I think he had 19 total turnovers last year at New Mexico, 0 turnovers so far this year. Now, played UCLA, lit them up week 1. That looked great until a couple weeks later when Deshaun Foster gets fired. They were a little sleepy last week in Laramie, going up to Wyoming. So they played 2 road games already. They've tested themselves. So they're excited to get back home. Texas Tech has not tested themselves yet. They played every game at home. They've absolutely smoked everybody at home. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State, just absolutely lit them up 3-0 against the spread. So this is it's a tale of 2 teams for me. Like, can the upstarts Texas Tech take over and take down the old dog and Kyle Whittingham? Morgan Scalley, his defense is going to have some sort of plan for that Texas Tech offense. Can Joey McGuire, can they make in-game adjustments to get by Utah's defense?
Yeah, I mean, the cat and mouse game between the coordinators is going to be fascinating. Mac Leftwich, who they brought in from Texas State at Texas Tech, really good offensive coordinator. But again, he's never gone up against a defense like Morgan Scalley's and Utah's. So, like, Leftwich is legit. He really is. But I'm so excited to see how he calls a game on the road against a premier defense like this for Utah and against a premier coordinator like Morgan Scalley. And then you've got new coordinator Jason Beck on the other side on the offense for Utah. How's he going to call a game against a really good defensive coordinator and my, long lost beloved cousin, Shield Wood at Texas Tech? And let's start with Texas Tech. I mean, dude, let's just call it what it is. The Red Raiders and Cody Campbell and all of the money that they spent along that defense. I know they spent in other places, but they brought in that defensive line who was literally their starting 4 along their defensive line. Lee Hunter from UCF, David Bailey, Stanford, Romello Height, Georgia Tech, Skylar Gill-Howard. Those 4 are their 4 starting defensive linemen. They were brought in for games like this because Utah has arguably the best offensive line in all of college football. They every publication that you looked at before the season had Utah one of the top offensive lines in the country. Yep. And they're legit. And they're running
Spencer Fano, first-round pick. I can't remember the guy's name on the other side, but I mean, he's working his way up draft boards for sure.
Yeah, so their 2 offensive tackles are as good as you're going to find in college football. So that matchup, because Utah, when they were in the Pac-12, what they did, they lined up and they bullied you. They big-boyed you. And in the Big 12, honestly, man, there's just not a lot of teams in the Big 12 that has the defensive line now that Texas Tech has. The guys that they've got, the difference makers that they've got on paper. And there's not a lot of offensive lines in the Big 12 that's as nasty and as physical and as talented as Utah's offensive line. And that's not a shot at the Big 12. It's really not. It's just those 2 parts of the line of scrimmage for these 2 teams are elite. They are. And so that matchup, man, between that group is going to be fascinating. Like, if Utah can't bully Texas Tech and Texas Tech holds their own in that matchup, they can win this football game. They absolutely can. And that is where number 1 for me, where Texas Tech going to have to make a difference. Those 4 guys that they brought in and paid all that money for are going to have to step up and be big in a game like this. Baron Morton's been really good for the first 3 games. I got to be honest with you, man. I mean, we all thought Texas Tech's offense, like, pretty much every year, they're going to be good. But, like, it's hard for me really to evaluate how good their offense is, like, with the competition that they've played so far. Like, this is, again, there's certain games last week I called it we're going to find out Saturday. This is a game that we're going to find out Saturday for Texas Tech, mostly, in this game. And it's just fascinating, man, how they're going to handle Devin Dampier and his dual threat ability. Dude, in prepping for this game too, I just couldn't help but almost crack up. Like, how Utah is, man. Like, they find ways to do things. They do things different than a lot of other people. Utah had a couple of guys transfer out, skill position players transfer out. Like, one of their best wide receivers, I think he went to USC like last minute. right before the season that really hurt them. So like they don't have the high level skill position players on paper necessarily like a Baylor would, or like the top wide receiver there at Arizona State, or even some of these guys, Jordan Tyson at Arizona State, or even some of these guys at Texas Tech. Dude, they use multiple tight ends. They've got cornerbacks and safeties and linebackers that you look up their stats. They've got dudes that literally are backup corners, backup safeties, and their best defensive player, Lander Barton, is out here catching passes and they're carrying the football on offense. Like it just cracks me up because that is typical Whittingham, bro.
Just
Typical.
giving Shield Wood so many different looks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is like what Utah does is like, okay, our best athletes on our team may not all be on offense. You know what? We're going to take some of these guys over here. We're going to get the football in their hands on offense. And that's just fascinating to me that they're doing that this year.
Yeah.
You don't really see that across college football that much. But Wayshawn Parker, transfer from Wazoo, has been really good so far. And Aquari Rogers, transfer from New Mex, both have been very good. Parker's averaging about 7 yards per carry for Utah right now.
He should be getting more carries.
He should. Devin Dampieri had 29 carries combined against UCLA and Wyoming, about 86.5 yards rushing per game. Texas Tech side, again, it's just hard to evaluate it, but wide receivers, Coy Eakin and Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, tight end Terrence Carter. I mean, they've all been explosive. They've got 11 touchdown catches combined. I mean, the offenses has been ridiculous. Well, what do they look like now against a legit defense? I can't wait to see it. I know they had a big running back injury before the year, but dude, Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams, I mean, they've both been very solid so far.
Yeah.
But again, what
Yeah.
is that? Is that because of the competition they're playing?
Yeah.
Or is that because they are just legit?
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, this is the, in your opinion, preseason, this is the first time that these teams are going to match up.
Yeah,
You got these two teams meeting up again in the Big 12 championship. Is that still the case?
yes. I right now
Now,
think
is that still the case after if Texas Tech were to go on the road and win? Because I mean, I'm guessing you had Utah winning this game during when you're doing your preseason predictions.
yeah, I did. I still think that's the case.
Yeah.
I do think that Utah could get it right. I think Texas Tech. I think it helps Texas Tech right now. Like we looked at Texas Tech's schedule before the season and we saw those 3 road games on paper before the season. And obviously now we see Kansas State is definitely not what we thought they were going to be coming into the year. And honestly, more on this here in a second. I'm not sure that Arizona State is what we thought they were going into this year. I think that was just a class. I think that might be the classic definition of we just thought because so and so was really good this year that you're just going to be really good again next year. Like on paper, in my opinion, these are the 2 best teams in the Big 12. Obviously,
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough year over year to like stay consistently at the top of the conference like this.
Oh, I agree, man. I agree 1,000%. Like I said, you just good luck trying to predict anything in the Big 12.
I mean, Utah and Oklahoma State last year, right? So that's what we all thought were going to be, carrying the torch of the Big 12, and it ended up what it was. And then, okay, like you just said, Arizona State this year, BYU, nope, they're just kind of, I mean, BYU maybe, but Arizona State, yeah, kind of falling back to the pack a little bit.
Yep. So before I give the game pick again, keys to the game for me: Texas Tech's defensive line has to be really good and hold up and at least hold their own against that Utah offensive line. And Texas Tech also invested heavily along the offensive line. They obviously want to throw the ball a little bit more than what Utah wants to throw the football with Baron Morton. They've got to be able to protect Morton. And then we know Morgan Scalley is going to disguise and do some things that are, that it could get in a quarterback's head and whatnot. How does Morton and that receiving core handle that? That's to me is the keys to the game in this one. Dude, this is literally a flip of a coin. Like I don't feel confident picking either team to win this game. So I'm honestly just giving a pick, and I'll take the home team. I'll take Utah in this game. It's just hard to go against Whittingham and Utah, man, and Rice-Eccles Stadium. Like I agree with you. I think it helps Texas Tech a little bit that this game is a 10 a.m. local kick. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with Utah in this one to get it done and win. It's not a best bet or anything. It's just definition of I'm just taking a guess. So I'll take the home team to win.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna go against Kyle Whittingham in a game like this? Like, come on. I'm taking Utah -3. That is a best bet.
Okay.
I've already placed it. Utah -3 over Texas Tech. Again, 3, 3.5, maybe 4. We'll see in a game here in a little bit, 2 to 4. Those are what your spreads are going to be for these big time Big 12 matchups this year. And these are big games. I mean, you're talking about a conference, one at the outset, maybe two if they get lucky, playoff teams. But one spot, man, that's all what they're gunning for is one spot in the college football playoff. Obviously, the Big 12 championship, but these games are going to be super important, especially down the stretch. You're talking tiebreakers and all that stuff. So I got to roll with the home team here. I got to go with the Utes -3.
Josh Abbott, we love you, brother. Don't hate us for it. You're still our boy.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be with you later in the year. Promise.
Absolutely.
Number 22, Michigan at unranked Nebraska, 3:30 on CBS. Michigan is right now a 2.5-point road favorite. Nebraska, both straight up and against the spread, 0-2 in a pair of games as a home underdog during Matt Rhule's 3-year tenure. Michigan has won 4 games in a row over the Cornhuskers, including a 45-7 win in Lincoln 2 years ago. Coincidentally, I was at the last time Nebraska beat Michigan. It was at Michigan Stadium. Brady Hoke was coach. Long time ago, like 2013. It was like a 17-13 game. I was there witnessing just a travesty of a football game and a little bit of a miss there in Ann Arbor. But here's a stat for you. Big Ten conference game road favorites of 4 or less have gone 23-9 straight up and 21-11 against the spread since 2021. Michigan is 19-8 against the spread in road neutral games in the last 4 seasons. Nebraska 7-14-2 against the spread at home in its last 23 games. In this series, favorites are 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games. This is going to be the ultimate test of the Matt Rhule year 3. We've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. We talked about it so much that I'm getting sick that we're talking about it, but it's very well known at Temple and at Baylor. In the 3rd year of Matt Rhule's tenure, he turned things around. And I know you're sitting on a ticket of Nebraska over 7.5 wins. This is a massive game for them. We had Tim Murray on yesterday. He's got that ticket as well. This is a massive, massive turning point for the Nebraska Cornhuskers that in front of 85,000 home fans, if they want to be taken seriously in the Big Ten, you have to win this game. Like you have to. And on the other side, if you're Michigan, you lose this game without Sharon Moore. Obviously, he's not there. Biff Poggi's the coach. You're now 2-2 on the season. And what kind of thoughts are running through your head, right? So
Yep.
Sharon Moore, I'd heard this today. He was actually allowed to coach all the way up to midnight of last week's game in Central Michigan, the Friday night before midnight. So he was with the team all week before that 63-3 victory. His suspension started at midnight and it goes until midnight on Saturday night. So he is out, not able to communicate with anybody, not able to do anything. It is all Michigan. It's all Poggi. He has the benefit of having Chip Lindsey as his offensive coordinator, who's been a head coach before. He has the benefit of having Wink Martindale there as a defense coordinator, who's obviously spent many years as a defense coordinator in the NFL. So they're not going to be too phased by this. But I guess when it comes down to like a tight game, like last week against Central Michigan was not, will Biff be able to make those crunch time decisions? You know, may it be a challenge, maybe it be, timeout, time management. We see how that stuff comes into play all the time in college football. And afterwards, we get on here in our recap episode and we're like, what are these coaches doing? Like, that's a situation he could find himself in very likely on Saturday with such a tight spread.
Yeah, I need to see him come out in one of those sleeveless shirts he used to wear with Charlotte. I need to see him rocking a
not on Ward Manuel's watch. Ward Manuel told him to wear sleeves last week because Ward Manuel's a no fun haver.
Oh, well, that makes sense, man.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, I'm not gonna say what I really want to say right now. I'll just move on and talk football. Hey, Bryce Underwood did something in the last game that I've been calling for since the Oklahoma game that I was texting you about during the Oklahoma game. That they've got this 5-star dynamic athlete that is a dual threat type quarterback that has some serious wheels on him. and obviously a really good arm, but they did not use him at all in the QB run game against Oklahoma when they desperately needed to in that game. And then lo and behold, against Central Michigan, he has several carries. But it's interesting that, when you go back and watch it, a lot of those carries weren't like designed quarterback runs.
Yeah.
They were him
Yeah.
taking off and running, which is fine. Like, in my opinion, the more devastating type of QB runs are exactly those ones when the play breaks down and you're out covering out on pass plays and whatnot, and all of a sudden that quarterback takes off and moves the chains. Bryce Underwood needs to still do that. He needs to use his legs to move the chains. And the reason why I believe that is even more so because so far this year, he has 2 touchdown passes. So far, there's 2 touchdown passes so far for Michigan through 3 games. And I gave the stat out a minute ago talking about, in the Auburn game. 32 carries for 146 yards against Oklahoma. 75 of that 146 came on one run by Justice Haynes on a 75-yard run. That means that 31 other carries they only had 71 yards rushing in that game. Against New Mex, Michigan had 32 carries for 201 yards. Justice Haynes had 2 runs in that game of 56 yards and 59 yards. That means on the other 30 carries, they gained 86 yards. So outside of 3 carries in those 2 games, Michigan averaged 2.5 yards per carry against Oklahoma and New Mex. That's not going to get it done. That's not the Michigan running game and the offensive line that we're used to seeing in Ann Arbor through the Jim Harbaugh era. So, and Jordan Marshall, he hasn't been very good this year at all. It's been the Justice Haynes show at tailback.
Yep.
So, if you're not able to consistently throw the football, if you're not able to consistently run the football in the traditional run game with your tailbacks, turn Bryce Underwood loose, man. They've got to do that. And obviously, we know, to the Michigan wide receivers, man, like they're just, Donovan McCulley's a solid athlete. He is. Samaj Morgan, he's solid, but like, until they show us otherwise, like those 2 guys, man, they're not dynamic enough. Like, their wide receivers aren't dynamic enough. Like, we need to see them do more from the wide receiver position. And I just don't know, man, if the Nebraska game on the road is where they're going to do that. And on the Nebraska side, man, this is a Dylan Rhule game, bro. That's really what this comes down to. Like, he's the 5-star talent that they brought in, one of the top quarterbacks in the country coming out of high school. He was brought in, man, for moments like this. If Nebraska is going to take that next step, I know we hate the year 3 Matt Rhule saying. That's the last time I'm going to say it on here at this moment. I'll probably use it again next week.
When they win, we're definitely going to use it.
Yeah, we'll use it again. Yeah, exactly. But this is Dylan Rhule needs to step up and be big in this game. If Nebraska's going to win, he has to be good. They brought in Danke from Kentucky, who's been really good for them so far. That there was a little bit left to be desired against Cincinnati, and they've played a couple of scrubs since then. It's still so early in the year that it's kind of hard to tell certain things. So seeing Nebraska now with Dana Holgorsen calling plays, like, what's their game plan going to be against Wink Martindale in this Michigan defense? Michigan's defense hasn't been as dominant as what we thought it was going to be going into the year. It's early. They can still become really good. They've got dudes on that side of the ball, and they've got a really good DC. So it really just comes down to, can Nebraska move the football, not turn the ball over? And because honestly, you tell me what you think. At home in this game for Nebraska, with the guys they brought into the transfer portal along the offensive line, with a couple of guys they brought into the portal, like I said, at receiver, with Dylan Rhule, with Holgorsen calling plays, like, I don't think Nebraska has to go out there and do some trickery or whatever like that. I think they can play straight up, and if they play solid, they can win this football game against this Michigan team.
I hope so, man. I just, it scares me. I think back to that Friday night game last year when Illinois came in there and kind of pushed them around a little bit in the second half. That scares me a little bit. But yeah, they didn't have Holgorsen then. They brought in a lot of guys like you mentioned. I don't know if they can go straight up against Michigan. Like, that might be, they don't have to do trickery, but they're going to try to push the ball down the field. They played Cincinnati earlier this year, and they kept like everything in front of him. Like, Raiola threw 40 some passes and he completed 80% of them, but he had like 200 yards because they just literally wouldn't let him get anything behind them. So, Now, obviously, John Mateer is a little better than Dylan Raiola in our eyes, but we saw him have success against the secondary of Michigan. Um, this is the first of our 4 games, our big game breakdowns. I don't have a best bet on yet. I may bet it on Saturday. Um, Traditionally, Michigan fans, they tend to get to the window Saturday morning to bet the Wolverines. So I would maybe wait. If you're looking to bet Nebraska, wait on Michigan's. Wait on Portnoy and Taylor Lewan, those guys to move that line a little bit with their big bets. You got the Bussin' Bowl going on this week and everything. So see if you can snag the Huskers at +3 if you like them against the spread. But here's the deal, man. We picked our games before the season started. I picked Nebraska to win this game before the season. Last week, I picked Georgia Tech to beat Clemson before the season. I'm going to stick with my preseason pick. I'm going to take the Huskers to win this one outright.
I think this is a tough call, but I'm with you. I'm taking the home team in this game. I'm going to take Nebraska in this game. I do think that crowd, I think Nebraska is good enough on defense. I don't think Michigan's offense is good enough right now. Obviously, Michigan's defense with their capabilities scares the hell out of me. But I just think that Nebraska's offense with Dana Holgorsen, I do think Rhule will make enough plays. I think it won't be pretty, but I think Nebraska finds a way, man, and gets it done in this game. I was with you before the season. I thought this was I think I had Michigan going 9-3, and this was one of the 3 losses that I had. Oklahoma was one of the other 3 losses that I had for Michigan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to take Nebraska with you at this point. It's not a best bet either for me. I could see myself maybe Saturday jumping in on there with you, but at this moment, it's not a best bet. But I'll take the Huskers to win right now.
All right. Lightning round under the radar here. We got a handful of games to talk about. Let's talk about Florida going on the road to our number 2, Miami. AP people, number 2, Miami. 7:30 on ABC. Florida's going to be looking to avenge a humiliating 41-17 loss to Miami last year as 2.5-point home underdogs in that opener. Florida 6-4 against the spread in 10 games as a road underdog during Billy Napier's 4-year tenure, including last week's against the spread loss to LSU. Napier's teams dating back to his time at Louisiana have gone 14-7-1 against the spread in 22 games as road dogs. So he's performed well as a road dog. Obviously, they played their tails off last week at LSU. They posted a 26-15 and 1 against the spread mark and 41 overall spots as underdogs. So solid there. Here's where it gets bad for Florida. They're 9-17-1 against the spread in non-conference games in the last 6 seasons. So they actually performed better against the spread against SEC teams. Miami, on the other side, the bad news for them, Mario Cristobal, 8-10 against the spread in 18 games as a home favorite. That's including covering by a wide margin against the South Florida Bulls last week. But Miami, Florida straight up and against the spread. Miami 6-2 and 7-1 against the spread run against the Gators in their last 8 matchups. Billy Napier's last stand.
Yeah, man. I honestly,
that's all I got to say at this point.
Yeah, like I would love to jump in there and try to take the points with Florida in this one, man. But I don't think I can get on board and do it again, which probably means they'll cover as soon as I don't get on board. But yeah, I mean, 7.5 points, man. As talented as Florida is, that's a lot of points, dude. But you can't handicap that you think DJ Lagway is going to throw 5 picks like he did against LSU. I mean, Florida played well enough defensively to win that game. But again, right now, it's DJ Lagway is not playing well. He is not living up to the hype and all the ability that we thought. He's got the talent to turn it around, but until we see him turn it around, I mean, it's just hard to really back him and trust him right now. And then
he's not playing well. He's not playing well, and their coaching staff's not good enough to overcompensate for that.
Exactly. As I said, the number 2 thing is Billy Napier's not calling the game well. They need to, as Florida fans say, run the ball. Not ball, run the ball. Run Jaden Ball. That dude is averaging 6.6 yards per carry, and they're literally only handing him the ball 12 times per game. That right there should put Billy Napier on the hot seat.
Yeah.
You've got this 6'1", 235-pound just dog of a running back that might be the most talented and best running back in the SEC, and you're giving it to him 12 times a game. That's ridiculous. And he's averaging 6.6 yards a carry. So he's
Yeah.
doing well when you hand it to him. And he was doing well last week in the passing game when they threw it to him. Get that guy the football. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand with that. Maybe this week they decide to do it.
Yeah.
But this week, for Florida to have a chance to beat Miami, Corey Heatherman, defensive coordinator for Miami, has done a really good job. They run that 4-2-5, mostly man scheme. So Florida's wide receivers, the Vernell Brown III, the J. Michael Sturdivant, the Trey Wilsons, the Aiden Mizels, they need to win their matchups. They need to win more. They're going to be one-on-one a lot, and they
They
need to
got
win
to
it.
test that Miami secondary because,
Yep.
again, Notre Dame threw the ball a lot, but it was a lot of bubble screens. They didn't test them. And, let's be honest, Bethune-Cookman and really South Florida not going to test them vertically in the passing game. So
Yep.
Florida's got the guys to do it. Again, can't handicap DJ Lagway throwing 5 picks, but you got to what do you got to lose right now? You got 2 losses already. You got to push the ball down the field.
Yeah, well, the key to that, to push the ball down the field is, dude, they got to find a way, man, to block Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor.
Yeah.
Those 2 edge rushers for Miami. Those 2 edge rushers for Miami are one of the best, if not the best, edge rushing combo in the dang country right now through the first 3 games. They've been remarkable. Carson Beck's been 79% completion percentage, 10th in yards per pass thrown this year. He's been fantastic. Mark Fletcher's been really good, averaging 6.5 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns on the year at tailback. Really, man, this comes down to if DJ Lagway protects the football, just make some plays in the passing game. If they actually run the ball with Jaden Bald, man, this is going to be a fantastic game. Like, I lean right now. It's not a best bet. Right now, I say Miami wins this game and Florida covers. Is my prediction in this game as of right now.
7:30 on Fox, same time. Big matchup in the Big 12, Arizona State at Baylor. Baylor 2-point favorites right now at home. Arizona State 5-3 against the spread in 8 games as a road underdog during Kenny Dillingham's 3-year tenure. Baylor is 11-7-1 in 19 games as a home favorite against the spread since Dave Aranda took over in 2020. Arizona State as a whole, ATS as an underdog since 2018, 27-15-1. You touched a little bit on Arizona State earlier that they just may not be the team a lot of us thought they were going to. They may be that team, that we thought Utah and Oklahoma State were going to be last year. That may be Arizona State. I'm not going to say they're going to go 3-8 or 4-9 or 3-9 or 4-8, but they just may not have enough juice. They may not have enough scattaboo to get them over the hump this year.
Yeah, right now Arizona State's running game's fine. It's just, again, like we've talked about, like, dude, I know Jordan Tyson's the real deal. Like, I've seen an article that came out today that he's really separated himself as like the number 1 wide receiver for this coming up NFL draft this year, because obviously there's a few younger guys like a Jeremiah Smith who's not eligible and whatnot. But yeah, Jordan Tyson's the real deal. But dude, they literally have nobody else right now they throw the football to. And eventually, man, defenses are going to be able to adjust to that. Like, you've got to be able to find somebody else in the passing game. Good news for Arizona State is Baylor's defense, man, I don't know. It's booty again so far. Now, granted, like, SMU's got a really good offense, okay? And they just outscored them. Auburn ran the football down their throat. Auburn's got a really good offensive line. And a big, physical, really talented, good offensive line. I don't think Arizona State's is that. I think Arizona State, again, very solid. They may go on a run. They're talented enough to go on a run with all the returning production that they have from last year's team to go on a run here. Dude, I just got to be honest with you. Like, I know I said that Carson Beck, considering the competition that they're playing against, has been the best quarterback in the country up to this point, and I still believe that. But right there with him is Sawyer Robertson, bro. That guy's been as good as advertised, man, so far through the year. And
he just has no defense.
Yeah, they just don't have a defense, right? But their offense is legit. They've got 3 or 5. We talk about how Arizona State's got 1 dude right now that can catch the ball. Baylor's got 4 or 5 guys, including the tight end, that is the real deal of catching the football right now. Weapons everywhere on that offense. Bryson Washington, really good tailback. So they're a good balanced type of football team on offense. I've got a best bet in this game. I've got Baylor -2.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, okay. I'm taking the Bears -2 in this game. I just think Sawyer Robertson and that offense, like we saw Mississippi State throw the football well against Arizona State. And honestly, like, that game changed when Arizona State just started running the football And I think Mississippi State got a little bit conservative because they had such a lead. But when they threw the football and were just airing it out, dude, they had a lot of success against Arizona State.
Yeah.
And this Baylor passing attack is legit. I mean, I'm not just for the Big 12, but for the entire country. So I think this Baylor passing attack is going to be a problem for Arizona State in this game. And they put up boatloads of points. And I think it's probably another shootout like most Baylor games are going to be. And I think the
Yeah.
Bears get it done and cover and beat Arizona State.
Me too. I'm with you.
Okay.
3:30 on ESPN. Tulane going on the road to play number 18 Ole Miss. Ole Miss 17-5 against the spread in non-conference games in 5 seasons under Lane Kiffin. So they thrive in this spot. Obviously, it's a little bit of a letdown spot coming off that emotional Arkansas win last week. You don't really know what's going on with Trinidad Chambliss, who came in for Austin Simmons. You kind of know what's going on with Austin Simmons because he came in, dude could barely walk. Chambliss hurt his hand. So Tulane's look good. Tulane's look really good. I mean, they've got, I want to say this very lightly, they've got 2 Power 4 wins. One of them is against Northwestern, and one of them is against Duke. Who, like, we still got respect for Manny Diaz, but they 2 Power 4 wins, so they scheduled up. Good for them. This is a whole different animal now.
Yep.
12.5-point spread right now for the Rebels in Oxford.
Yeah, this is a game where Tulane's running defense is going to have to show up. That Kejuan Lacey, whoever the QB is going to be for Ole Miss, I mean, Chambliss, what about that guy? Freaking Ferris State College or whatever, D3 school, and just comes in and lights it up against an SEC team in his first start and played really well. The only reason I don't have Ole Miss as the best bet in this game is right now I want to see what the reports are in regards to the quarterbacks. That line is like kind of ticked up, it looked like a little bit. So I'm guessing some people are getting some good word about that. But with Ole Miss's just weapons on offense, I agree with you. Like, I think Tulane's a very good. Like, we love John Sumrall and think he's legit. And that guy should be coaching at a high level Power 4 job right now. But he's doing a fantastic job at Tulane. Obviously, Jake Retzlaff's played against a lot of Power 4 competition. So he's played well so far for the Green Wave. But, dude, I need to see if we find out that like Trinidad Chambliss or whoever's going quarterback's going to be is like relatively healthy in this game, I think Ole Miss could take care of business here and score a lot of points and cover the spread in this one.
I will say I gave out 17-5 against the spread in non-conference games. If you know anything about Ole Miss's non-conference scheduling, this is probably the best team they've played in Lane Kiffin tenure at a conference. I mean, they got Wake Forest and just a bunch of nobodies. So this is a solid Tulane team with Jake Retzlaff. So should be a good one down in Oxford, I think. But
I agree.
Again, has a chance of getting away from Tulane a little bit. So let's take in the SEC, the Battle of Columbias. This time it's taking place in Missouri, down there in Como. South Carolina at number 20, Mizzou. Mizzou, a 10.5-point favorite. It actually ticked down from 13.5. So I'm guessing we got word that Sellers is probably going to play. And then you're still looking at a 10.5-point spread for a team that was number 11 in the AP poll last week. And they're 10.5-point underdogs against a team that wasn't ranked last week. It's just insane. Eli Drinkwitz's squad, 13-game winning streak at home right now. They're 5-1 straight up and 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games against South Carolina. But they're going to be in revenge mode too after dropping that 34-30 thriller in Columbia, South Carolina last year. During Shane Beamer's tenure at South Carolina, he's got an 8-6 against the spread record in 14 games as a road underdog. Gamecocks are 4-2 against the spread with 2 outright victories in their last 6 spots. So, I know South Carolina isn't what a lot of people we had our doubts. We gave our doubts in the preseason. A lot of people thought they were going to be really good. Lenore Sellers, good quarterback. Defense lost a lot of pieces. I'm excited to watch Bro Pabula against the defense.
Me too, man, because that's honestly been the story. Pabula's been fantastic so far this year, man. And like hearing the stories now coming too from the Penn State coaching staff, they were like, yeah, I mean, this is why we really didn't want to lose this guy, but we also were like a huge like proponent for him and we're like backing him to whoever we were they were James Franklin and that staff was telling other coaches like, hey, like he's the real deal. and we're trying
Did
to help
Penn
him.
State did Penn State lose their own quarterback?
I heard somebody mention that on the show this week, man, and like it's. I mean, if this continues, that might actually become a conversation, bro.
Give me a Missouri Penn State first round matchup in the CFP.
That would be fantastic. But yeah, Purbule's been unbelievable, dude, no doubt. This will be the best defense he's played so far, but still, he's played really well. I mean, let's on offense so far, man. Purbule's been fantastic. Ahmad Hardy's lived up to the hype, like so far. Now he's getting into SEC play, so interesting to see what he looks like against this competition. Jamal Roberts, the other running back, has been also really good for them. I mean, they lose their entire receiving core, and Kevin Coleman Jr. from Mississippi State. Dude, what was missing? We talk about all the Purdue transfers that went places
Yeah.
that ended up being so good. Oh, Jeff Levy was just stockpiling dudes in Starkville last year. You've got Mario Craver at Texas A&M just dropping 200-yard receiving games on whoever they play against. Kevin Coleman Jr. transferred Mississippi State to Mizzou, is their best receiver, and he's legit.
Yeah.
Marquise Johnson is also really good. Josh Manning, solid. They've got another three-headed monster at wide receiver that's very good. And
Yep.
they've got one of the better receiving tight ends in the SEC right now through the first three games in Brett Norfleet. So, yeah, man. I mean, obviously the X factor here is if Sellers is healthy. We've seen him last year, not this year yet. We've seen him take teams and just put them on his back and just take over games. We've yet to see that. I've seen a lot of South Carolina fans do what a lot of fan bases do. They are absolutely all over Mike Shula right now, offensive coordinator. They're all over his butt right now, and rightfully so. Like, you thought this South Carolina offense was going to be good this year, and it just flat out hasn't been. So, I mean, right now, man, I mean, like you said, you gave all the numbers. Mizzou's been a freaking wagon at home in Como, and they've been really solid so far this year. And
10.5 seems like a lot of points, though,
it
right?
is a lot of points. Like I'm absolutely not right now taking 10.5 points, and riding with that.
Would you feel comfortable taking 10.5 with South Carolina
Absolutely
after
not.
watching them play Vandy last week?
No, absolutely not. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, if you made me take something in this game, I would take Mizzou and I would ride with those points. But so that tells you what my prediction is on this game. I think Missouri wins this game, man. I think that they're really good in Como. We haven't seen anything from South Carolina yet. Going into the year, I had both of these teams going 8-4 on the year. I don't feel good about that for South Carolina now. A win right here, I'd feel better about it for them. But yeah, I think Mizzou gets it done and takes care of business in this game. I'm not best bet or anything like that. I just think Missouri wins a football game.
Last game we'll touch on real quick. I know you've been dying to talk about your BFF Lincoln Riley, so let's talk Michigan State at number 25 USC, 11 p.m. Eastern kick on Fox. A little Big Ten after dark.
Maybe a 6:00 Celsius with the dinner Saturday night.
Whew, and that's 11 o'clock body time for the Spartans too. So that's going to be rough. 17.5-point favorites right now for the Trojans. Here's your Jonathan Smith stats, baby. 16-9-1 as an away underdog since 2018. We followed him all the way through Oregon State.
Yep.
We bet him multiple times as a road underdog, and he hit multiple times. He thrives in this spot. USC has not handled outright road wins well. Like, they won on the road at Purdue last week. Wasn't pretty either. I know they had a delay and all that stuff. Got delayed 3 or 4 hours. The very next game after winning outright road wins, 0-8 against the spread against conference opponents. USC has lost 11 of its last 15 games against the spread as a favorite in conference play.
Whoa.
This is the year. This is it for Lincoln Riley, right? He's got him at home. I don't know how packed the Coliseum is going to be, whatnot. I know Michigan State's a little banged up. I'm going to roll with Sparty in this one, man. Spartans versus the Trojans. I'm rolling with Sparty.
Straight up.
It's a best bet for me. I already made it at plus 18.5. I think that this is a classic case where, like, we've seen USC, they've dominated, played so well against Missouri State and Georgia State, whoever else they're playing out there, right? Georgia Southern, but it's a case too where you get those teams that finally hop into the top 25, like kind of sneak into the backside, lose a little focus. That 11 p.m. kick is really weird. Like, they don't even start games out in Los Angeles that late sometimes. They'll start them at like 10:15, but that's a late start for everybody. So I'm going to roll with 18.5, which I think is just too many points for Jonathan Smith.
It's a lot of points, man. No doubt about it. I mean, this USC offense has been, the numbers tell you this USC offense have been the best offense in the country so far this year. But again, I know they'll say against who. Who they beat. So far this year, yeah, the Trojans have. You love that, by the way. You laugh every time. Who'd you play? It makes me happy every time I do that, and you laugh. Yeah, dude, the Trojans they haven't really played anybody yet, man. And honestly, the win that Michigan State had against Boston College doesn't look as great after BC went and lost to
Frank Reich and Stanford.
good old Stanford. I mean, this really comes down to, I just think it's a lot of points, man. I think Sparty is improved this year over year from last year. USC's definitely improved year over year. If you've been following along on this show and this podcast, you've heard me mention many times in the offseason that USC was going to be a playoff dark horse and going to make some noise in the Big Ten this year. I had them going 9-3 on the year and could possibly see a 10-2. I've seen nothing so far. I know it's not been great competition, but I've seen nothing so far that would make me back off that. Defensively, they have gotten much better again under DC DeAnton Lynn. They seem to be playing much better football. Jay Mayav is playing well at the quarterback position. The running backs we talked about a lot for the year starter, Wayman Jordan, the transfer from the JUCO school, Hutchinson Community College, has got 39 carries, 286 yards, averaging 7.3 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, there's not really anything they haven't done well on offense yet so far. But yeah, we'll find out a little bit more about them this week. I know Sparty's not some juggernaut by any means, but that's a little bit more of a solid litmus test compared to what they have played so far here this year. Yeah, I'll take USC to win. I don't have a best bet. If you made me take a bet, I would take the points with Sparty in that one. I would think USC wins this game something like 34-17. 31-17, something like that's what my prediction is in this game for USC to win, but Sparty to cover.
That time. It's time to go 4-0, right?
We got people tuning in and going to tune in for just this segment, bro.
Just this segment. It's the upset alert segment.
Welcome to the ATB show for those that literally just fast forwarded just to the upset alert, because we are absolutely dunking on folks so far this year.
Yeah, we got you with the time. We got you with the timestamps. I'm going to go first because I have only hit one upset, but Lance is the one carrying the flag for us. So I'm going to go with the Memphis Tigers as an outright upset winner this week. 7.5-point dogs against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Massive, massive sandwich spot for Arkansas. Ole Miss last week, they lost by 6 on the road. Who's coming to town to Fayetteville next week for a noon kickoff?
The Irish.
Notre Dame. You don't think they've had that circle for a long time? It's a tried and true trend in college football, man. I don't know. We're putting our money on these 18 to 23-year-olds, right? And in Diego Pavia's case, he's 25-year-olds. So I don't know what it is about these sandwich spots, man. You just kind of tend to overlook. You're going on the road now. You're facing, and it's even a road team at noon that I love, right? 7.5-point favorites. I think Ryan Silverfield's going to have the Tigers ready. He's 6-2 as a home dog at Memphis. Now this is obviously probably the best team he's played, but I think Memphis can make a little magic. This is their Super Bowl. If Memphis goes and outright wins this game, check Memphis' schedule to see who they play next week in week 5 and go look to play against Memphis. But I'm rolling the dice with the Memphis Tigers as my upset pick of the week.
I like it, man. My in-laws, my father-in-law and brother-in-law, and my family there in the 901 and Memphis grads. My father-in-law, brother-in-law, Memphis grads. Yeah, they'll love that, man. Don't worry, I've already gotten text wanting to know if Memphis was going to be on the upset alert this week, and I didn't even say anything back because I honestly didn't know. Well, we don't tell each other. before this, but I thought there was a chance it could show up on
Oh
here.
yeah.
So good stuff, man. I got to mention something about that too. You were talking about, Memphis they've beaten Ole Miss, they've beaten Mississippi State there, in Memphis before. So they've beaten some SEC teams there in Memphis before. But to your point, when you were talking about, want to see who Memphis plays next week. Last year, if you remember, Florida State was reeling there earlier in the year, and they beat their old coach, Mike Norvell, and beat Florida State on the road in Tallahassee. And then the next week, they went on the road to face the troops. They
The
went
Naval
to
Academy.
Naval Academy and faced Navy, and they got beat. So, yeah, I'm with you. If Memphis wins this game, immediately we need to check to see who they play next week.
Yep.
All right, for my upset alert pick this week, I am also going with a group of 5 team. I'm going to Greenville, North Carolina, and I'm going to hop on the pirate ship with the East Carolina Pirates. And East Carolina is currently getting 6.5 points against BYU at home in Greenville. BYU going to make that trip. I would love to see that flight plan from Provo, Utah to Greenville, North Carolina to face the Pirates.
Yep.
And Caton Hauser, quarterback for East Carolina, with 973 yards passing with a 72% completion percentage so far this year. Speaking of Sparty a minute ago, he's a transfer from Michigan State 2 years ago. Wide receiver Anthony Smith for East Carolina is 8th in the country in receptions so far this year. Now, both of these teams, by the way, are top 20 in the country through the first 3 weeks of the season defensively. BYU just happens to be number 1 in the country. They've only played 2 games because BYU is coming off a bye. That part I don't love, but still. East Carolina has beaten teams before. You saw week 1 against NC State on the road in Raleigh. They gave NC State all they wanted. Probably should have won that game, honestly, straight up. That crazy stuff that happened there at the end of the game. But we've seen East Carolina take down teams before, and they punch up and play well. BYU's only played Portland State and Stanford so far, the number 1 defense in the country. This is the freshman quarterback for BYU, Bear Bachmeier's first road start. If you look around all of college football so far this year, all these dudes that are making their first road start have almost all of them, man, have struggled. And this is a freshman making his first road start. So I expect BYU obviously to lean on LJ Martin, who's been really good through his first 2 games, averaging 9 yards a carry in that defense. But man, I think East Carolina's defense also can hold up and keep them in this game. Again, they're top 20 defense themselves. And Caton Hauser's been really good at quarterback. I think East Carolina covers the 6.5, and I think they win the game straight up. So I'm going to say it this time, Tyler, for the pod bets. I'm taking East Carolina plus 6.5, and I am going to about 75% on the plus 6.5, and the other 25% sprinkling on the money line for East Carolina to win this game straight up and try to go 4-0 on the year at upset alert picks.
If you saw me looking down as he was talking, doing his whole game spiel, I was literally going to ESPN Bet, and I was placing East Carolina plus 6.5, plus 195 on the money line right now. That's how much faith I have in this man. Okay. So those are upsets of the.
It may be even happier, bro, that Tim Murray, without even having a clue that I was backing East Carolina, that we asked him what his favorite bets of the week were. And he came with something. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Kansas, whatever. But then he said, I really like a game out, I really like East Carolina. And you saw me just like perk up.
He said Memphis too.
Yeah, he did. He said Memphis too. So, hey, man, we're riding with Tim Murray. I like it.
Yep. All right. Best bets time. I am 10-6 on the season and best bets. You know what your record is?
I believe I am 8-6 on the year.
8-6. Okay. I gave out Syracuse plus 17.5 on last episode. Gave out Kansas minus 10.5. You gave out Kansas minus 11. It's up to 13.5 right now. Since 2022, Jayhawks are 5-1 against the spread when coming off a bye week. So
Lance Leipold.
Yeah, Tim Murray, we had him on last episode, like Lance said. A little bonus for you guys. Go check that out. Really good betting information in there. He took him Kansas minus 13. So Also, I got Memphis plus 7.5, and on the money line, like I just mentioned. I took Illinois plus 6.5 earlier in the episode. Illinois 16-4 against the spread in road games since 2021. Michigan State plus 18.5 at USC. Utah -3 at home against Texas Tech. Oklahoma -6.5 against Auburn. And for my final best bet of the week so far, we may have a little extra something for you later in the week, but I'm going to kind of plug my nose on a favorite here and take the Tennessee Volunteers playing UAB, the old fighting Dilfers, and take them -39.5. I'm going to take them to win by 40 plus. Heupel just absolutely thrives in these games, man. Like even last year with Nico, they were running up the score 73-0, 70-0, just killing these teams. They're 18-4 against the spread in non-conference games since Heupel took over. That's almost 82%. How can I ignore that? I mean, 40 points is a lot, but I mean, they could be up 42-0 at halftime, and then they could continue piling it on in the second half. So I'm going to take Tennessee -39.5. You guys don't have to do it with me. I wouldn't blame you for not doing it with me, but hey, it might hit. So those are my best bets for the week so far.
Love it, man. My best bets, like I said, I've got Kansas with you. I got them at 11 earlier in the week. And our last episode, you got them at 10.5. I was able to get them at 11. So I've got Kansas -11, catching West Virginia off that huge, win again in the backyard brawl against Pitt. I got Oklahoma -6.5 with you as well against Auburn at home. I'm also got with you Baylor -2.5. We match up there. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know this. We literally do not tell each other what our best bets are before this. So it's wild that we match up this many times this week on these games.
That's one I forgot. Baylor -2.5.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Baylor -2.5 against Arizona State. Just Sawyer Robertson and that offense. I just think they're too much right now, man. I don't think that Arizona State's going to be able to stop them. And until Arizona State finds another wide receiver not named Jordan Tyson, I just think they've got problems overall. Defensively, we saw what they did against Mississippi State, and I just think they've got problems too of not having more wide receivers to sling the rock to. I'm taking it, man. I'm taking Indiana -5.5 as a best bet. I'm going to ride with Coach Siggs and that Mike Shanahan offense. I think Bryant Haynes and that defense is going to be able to get it done against that offensive line for Illinois that's had problems this year. And then Indiana is going to get a big home win at prime time at night against a top 10 opponent in Bloomington Saturday night. And then the one I just told you on the upset alert, I'm taking East Carolina +6.5 against BYU. Again, I'll put about 75% on them +6.5, and the other 25%, 50-50, whatever. I'll figure it out. And I'm going to take the money line as well with East Carolina to beat BYU straight up and to get it done. So that's what I've got so far this week. I am looking at Army +2.5, but I haven't been able to pull that trigger yet. It's just if odds makers are going to give me some candy with the troops at home.
Wait till it gets to 3.
That's what I'm saying. Like Army started out as a favorite. Now they're a dog. That kind of stuff scared me. But like honestly, we've talked about this, man. The line movement the last 2 years has honestly not meant a dang thing. But if you're going to give me the troops at home, I think North Texas, they're a really good group of 5 teams. They're getting a little bit more respect than I think they probably should be in that spot. But that's where I'm at so far right now for best bets this week.
Love it, man. Week 4 is sure to be a good one. Make sure you tune in on Saturday and then tune in on Sunday night, Monday morning for our recap episode. It'll be out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Like we said, go subscribe, go follow, go share. Leave us a comment, leave us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate everything you guys do for us. 2,000 subs on YouTube is a monumental moment for us. So it's fun to do this, and it's fun to keep going with you guys. Again, Instagram, TikTok, X, all the socials. Go follow us on there. We'll be putting out prediction videos for the rest of the week. We'll be touting ourselves. We get another upset alert pick too. So
No doubt.
for Lance Barton, I'm Tyler Noe. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.